Yeah, it is. So we're recording.
Oh, all right.
This is episode 0 of.
Oh, we're not good enough for one.
Of insert name. No, I don't know what the name of this is going to be. I was leaning toward real Retrotainmnt, like REEL for movies, but we're talking about other shit. I'm tempted to
Wordplay.
I'm tempted to just keep calling this outside the box. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's a throwback.
It is a throwback. So anyway, this is episode 0 of the podcast for the Retrotainmnt channel. I'll figure out a fancier name for this shit down the road.
As he does air quotes that no one can see.
Shut up. I'll work them in somehow. Well, it's going to go on YouTube. It's going to be a video. I'll just put air quotes in the video for the podcast. The air quotes? Yeah, right. So on this podcast, we will talk about movies and games and whatever. But the bulk of this podcast is going to be discussing Into the Spiderverse, which
the best movie of the year.
I fucking loved it.
Fuck you, fight me.
So we've got Zach here. He came up from MagFest. He is my partner in crime from Fury Box. Also runs Single Cell Shark.
Hetero life mate.
Yeah, right. And we have my wife, who is sitting there in my shirt she didn't ask to wear. But I guess she's just doing it.
I feel like
getting the titty juice all over the bombs.
I feel like what's mine is yours and yours is mine. So my shirt.
So Into the Spiderverse. Zach, you're the one that pitched this idea of doing this podcast with all three of us here. So talk about the movie, man. What did you think?
I think it's a perfect movie.
All right, so that's the whole podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than before. Outside the Box was like 2.5 hours long. We finished this shit in under 2 minutes.
Yeah. No. I think we loop it, put a lot of music.
It was perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it's definitely the best movie I've seen all year. And it's a movie I constantly think about, which is more than I can say of like every other movie I've seen in theaters this year.
That's just because he likes ham.
Dude, Spider-Ham is the best, though. I don't... Spider-Man Noir, and I'm a comic book nerd, so...
I was super excited to see Spider-Man Noir on there, because I love that comic series.
I think it's, self-explanatory that this is chock full of spoilers, so... I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I probably should have mentioned it. Well, you've seen the trailer, what's in it. But, yes, let me preface this now, almost 3 minutes into this podcast. There will be spoilers. So if you have not seen Into the Spiderverse, and for some reason you're listening to
the... fuck are you doing with your life?
You're listening to the first episode of a podcast for a YouTube channel that has no other videos on it right now, stop listening to this, go watch Into the Spiderverse, and then come back here.
No. Stop. Subscribe.
Hammer time.
Come back later.
No, you don't have to subscribe.
Yep.
Let's be honest. There's no real reason to subscribe to this channel right now. I'll give you some reasons down the road, but for now, we're just talking about Spider-Man. So,
but,
yeah, it was fucking great. I won't say I went into this movie expecting nothing, because I did. Like, the trailers were great. I love the art style for it. It took a whole bunch of different Spider-Man and
Spiders.
And, I was really curious to see where it was going to go. I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. Like,
such good art direction.
Everything.
It was definitely concerning because it was definitely geared towards a younger generation in terms of trailers, and I was like, man, is this going to be a Spider-Man that others can enjoy, or is this just going to be new cool Spider-Man?
Just like Venom is a Venom for everyone.
Yeah. So
it's a spider. It's a what is it? Is it PG-13?
No, it's PG. Spider-Man's PG.
You know what I was kind of surprised about?
Mm-hmm.
It had the word Nazi in it. You can't even say Nazi on YouTube without it being demonetized.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, so great. This video's God damn it!
I do believe we have no more sponsors.
Well, fuck it. Now that we've said Nazi, we're just gonna randomly sprinkle Nazi throughout this podcast.
But
not in support of, just
we did not see that coming.
Stars Miles Morales, which is probably my favorite Spider-Man. I mean, I love Peter Parker and everything, but I really like Miles Morales, a whole bunch.
My only real experience with Miles is from the PS4 game. I know of him through the comics, but I've never read any of his stuff.
He's a really good character.
You are definitely the more comic-oriented person. My experience with this stuff is minimal. It's based on Wikipedia's.
That's okay. That's like a lot of people who say they read comics. They just read Wikipedia, so you're not alone.
I mean,
yeah.
If you think about it,
thumbing my nose at those people.
Wikipedia is like a comic. It has text and pictures.
It has like a picture to the side.
It's still
like the Spark Notes of comics.
It's comic Spark Notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, do we want to do like a kind of a quick synopsis or?
So it involves Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
Shocking.
And Spider-Ham. And whatever
Spider-Gwen or Spider-Woman in this case.
What was the name of the one with the robot again?
Penny Parker. I don't think she was called anything other than Penny Parker.
I forgot what the robot was called though.
I don't think it had a name.
I think it
had a name.
It was because it was piloted by her and like also controlled by her.
You saw the emotion that it emoted. It had a name.
I think it had. I don't remember.
It was her father's robot that he built or something. Pilot or controlled by the radioactive spider.
Yeah, it was like
controlled by
a spider. It's in the future and an alternate universe, so spider something.
But yeah, so it's the quick synopsis of this is Miles gets his powers, to become Spider-Man. I'm not gonna go into great detail with this. Gets his powers, winds up coming across Peter Parker, who gets the ever-living shit kicked out of him.
Oh, no, he got killed.
And he dies.
Legitimately dies. Peter Parker is dead.
So, Peter Parker in Miles Morales' universe is dead now. Is that how it worked in the comics? Is that how he died?
Yep. No, well, he was killed by...
Or as I like to call him, Surfing Spider-Man, because he looked like a blonde playboy.
In Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker got killed by Green Goblin.
Oh, so that's a twist.
And then, like, Miles kind of got, off to the side, got his powers, and then kind of took up the mantle. Yeah.
So, in this one, Miles gets his powers, comes across the Spider-Man in this universe, who dies almost immediately. Like, he's like, I'm going to show you the ropes, and then dies. So,
makes a promise.
Yeah, he makes Miles promise to use this super fancy USB stick to help save the universe from Kingpin, who was trying to merge universes to save his family, because, look, we all know that's going to go real well. Can you imagine, like, a horror movie plot scenario where that shit actually worked? Like, you merge universes and get your family back and nothing is fucked up in the long run? Like, why don't villains have any fucking common sense? Like,
they have money. Dude, yeah. I love Kingpin in this movie.
I love him, too.
I just love that. Kill that guy.
Yeah.
That was just the fucking most deadpan shit. I loved it.
So Miles makes this promise to use his flash drive to stop this machine from merging multiple universes for Kingpin to save his family. And
or get his family back or whatever.
Yeah, and in doing so, winds up coming across Peter Parker from another alternate timeline.
Schlubby Peter Parker.
Who I identified with that Peter Parker on so many levels.
Peter B. Parker.
So this Peter Parker wound up getting divorced from Mary Jane.
Yeah, he's been doing it for like 20 years.
Yeah,
or something like that.
He didn't want to have kids or whatever.
He's been divorced and had his back broken, and like he's had a rough go at it for a little while.
So he comes across Miles. They sort of run into each other at the grave of the Peter Parker from Miles' universe that dies. And that leads into a whole kerfuffle of them basically getting to know each other. The grumpy teacher that doesn't want a student, and the young student who's like, "But Sensei, you must teach me." Mm-hmm. Senpai. He's basically he wants Peter to be his senpai. And that in turn leads to them, going down this path to stop Kingpin, and in doing so, they realize they have to go to oh my god, to Aunt May's.
Oh,
yeah. I'm skipping a lot. So they
it's understandable.
But I will say this: when they go to Alchemax, one of my favorite things of the story is the Doc Ock in this universe.
Doc Ock reveal was so good because they didn't show it in any of the trailers.
Yeah.
No,
as a matter of fact, we're gonna stop.
Yeah,
that's one thing I'd actually like to be a surprise.
Reveal,
so anyway, in doing so, they have to go talk to Aunt May, and remember in this universe, in Miles' universe, this Aunt May's Peter died. So the Peter from the other universe shows up, and Aunt May's like, "Holy shit, Peter!" All this other stuff, And
Dude, that was a sweet scene. She's just like, you look so tired. He's
Yeah.
just like, I am tired.
In-
I was
in-
like,
in-
oh, that made me so sad
That would be a
for him.
wallpaper for somebody.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
in typical Aunt May fashion, she knew what was up and led him to what I call the spider cave.
Yeah. I love that. The jokes in that.
Yeah, how they'd make a
Schlu-
nod to the spider boat and the spider buggy.
Yeah, the fucking Mego toys. And
Yeah.
friggin' the schlubby Peter Parker. It's just like, it's like, oh, look at this place. So grandiose. I feel sorry for him,
yeah.
actually. Imagine
I had
my
one
place.
of these.
Imagine I had this, but imagine it a little smaller, a little futon in the corner.
One of my favorite
Pretentious, really.
one of my favorite things about that scene is you see all of the spider suits, and
Yeah.
one of them is the velocity suit from the PS4 game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they do have the velocity suit in there, which was really cool. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about all this is because they go into the spider cave, and this is where you meet all of the other
Did you
Spider-Man.
think you're the only one who
Yeah.
thought to come here?
So Spider Ham shows up, who's voiced by John Mulaney, who I absolutely
Yeah.
love to death. That man
He
is a
killed it.
genius.
Fucking killed it.
Spider-Man Noir, which I thought was the Rubik's Cube
Yep.
running joke in that.
Voiced by Nick Cage.
Yep. So kind of funny. He was going to play Superman, wound up playing Spider-Man 20 years later.
Yeah. I like how the wind is just blowing in the cave. And
Yeah, he's
blowing
like-
his trench coat. I only go where the wind takes me. And the wind smells like rain.
I fucking love that they put Spider-Man Noir in this, but they also have the Penny Parker, which was the anime sort of.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah, like I'm still a little lost on Penny's backstory, but there's a robot with a spider that has like her dad's soul in the robot. I don't.
It's those three are like, and of course Spider-Gwen,
Yeah, Spider-Gwen.
because they connect with Spider-Gwen earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But like Spider-Ham and Noir and Penny Parker, I kind of feel like they're largely there for comedic effect, but that's okay because you've got like the other three who are there to drive the story.
That was my only real fault with this movie, and I mentioned this to Mari after we saw it, where it's like they introduced these other Spider-Man characters, and it goes almost nowhere.
I guess they didn't want to fill the movie with too many main characters because you already had Spider-Man, you already had Miles, Peter B. Parker, and Spider-Gwen as the driving story.
Yeah.
Like pushing the story forward, and I guess they needed a little bit of comedy relief.
I get that, but when your movie is called Into the Spiderverse, and you're bringing all these characters in, there were just times when they didn't feel necessary. Like,
I mean,
for
I would have
me,
liked more Noir for sure.
Yeah.
once they run into the other spider people, the movie like rapidly accelerates. Like it's a pretty medium to slow burn up until then. Then they meet the other spider people, and it literally is just like here,
Yeah.
end of the film, and then we're done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they could have. I guess they could have done more with it, but I don't know.
the pacing was a little bit weird with that, but once again, that does not detract from the fact that this movie was great.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this movie. One thing that I really appreciated was the soundtrack.
Soundtrack was really good. A lot of hip hop.
I'm not big into modern hip hop,
Yeah.
but I really appreciated
But they picked some
how
good
well
ones.
this all worked.
The music only, to me, worked well in this movie. Like, if I listen to the soundtrack, which we tried to do
Yeah,
we did
outside
too.
of it, it just doesn't hit me nearly as
Yeah,
well
there's a
as it
couple of them.
is watching this film. So, like, the newer, modern music, I appreciated for the character, for the story, for the environment it created. But then outside of it, I would just not listen, minus the Biggie song.
Which one was the Biggie one? I don't.
Infamous.
Oh, is that What's Up, Dang?
When he's-
Which one is What's Up,
When
Dang?
he's tagging, like that's
It's
okay.
just a mild nod to this song, basically.
I'll go
It
ahead and
wasn't
play a
even-
clip of Infamous by Biggie in the background so everybody can
no,
know.
copyright
So I
strike.
can just get sued.
Yeah,
Um,
let's just lose the whole channel.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
So
Done.
anyway, yeah. We can praise this movie till we're blue in the face, but I really appreciated what Sony did with this, and I'll give Sony credit, man. They kind of hit it out of the park with these movies. It's really weird to think that like they had the Spider-Man IP and they did the Tobey Maguire films. And then they stopped those, and then they did the Andrew Garfield films, and then they stopped those. And in the background, like Marvel's like building up this juggernaut to what it is now. And then you've got, DC not knowing what the fuck they're doing until apparently the
Wonder Woman and
like
Aquaman.
Wonder Woman, and I was going to say Aquawoman and Wonder Man.
Wonder Man. I think there is a Wonder Man.
Don't we Wonder Man, though?
I do about some of their films, but like they kind of seem to lose their footing until hopefully what they're getting with now. We'll talk about Shazam. I'm really concerned about that.
Yeah.
It just looks weird.
I don't know. It looks like they're not taking it too seriously, and that's kind of what they did with Aquaman.
I don't know, dude. The trailer for Shazam just feels cringy.
It looks ridiculous. I'm gonna watch it. I like Shazam.
I know that. Wait, you haven't? Oh, I was gonna say, like, you haven't seen the trailer. You mean the movie? But
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I know people use the term cringy a lot, but that's how I felt watching that Shazam trailer. Yeah. It's just maybe because what's the guy's name that plays it? Is it Sean Levy? Sean Levy or whatever? He played.
Yeah.
He was in Chuck.
Yeah, and he was the voice actor for the
for
Tangled.
Rapunzel, yeah. Flynn Rider,
yeah.
yeah. I never got into Chuck. I don't know. I know he was supposed to play Nathan Drake in the live action.
I watched a good chunk of that show, Chuck.
I liked it.
There was the secret agent Best Buy worker, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I watched a good chunk of that show.
Yeah, the main character is the one playing Shazam.
That's a weird casting, but okay.
I mean, he plays nerdy, but like
he is a nerd. I mean, he was super excited to get this, but then again, I mean, I guess anyone's excited to get a comic book role.
I mean,
right now, yeah, because you're going to be making all the money.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to what I was originally trying to say,
Spider-Man.
so like. Yeah, so DC didn't really know what they were doing until they started with like this Wonder Woman Aquaman thing. And Sony just kind of came back out of nowhere. Like first they dropped Venom, which I didn't dislike Venom.
Venom is a weird movie. I like it though. I like it. I cannot say it's a good movie, but it's a good movie.
For having very little expectations.
Yeah.
My thing about Venom is like critics slam this movie. Like I read a bunch of things that said it was like the worst movie people have ever seen. To which my response is, you have not seen a lot of movies.
Do you want a buddy cop movie with Tom Hardy and a sentient blob? Well, here you go. It's a boy and his blob. That's what it is.
I enjoyed Venom for what it was. There are a lot of things wrong with the movie. Mostly the casting for Carnage.
Woody Harrelson, that fucking wig.
It's weird. Like
in a red of all the.
You knew they were gonna hint Carnage too, like because that is what Venom is.
Yeah. Not a single hint to Spider-Man whatsoever.
Carnage
but at least
is
Carnage
Venom's
got,
son or offspring, at least.
So it's like that was really weird to me. We can talk about Venom at another point though. But getting back to Spider-Man, they dropped Venom, which was really successful, and then they dropped Spider-Verse, which was super successful, and with the post credits for Spider-Man, which might be my favorite post credits from any comic film ever. Like the fucking the meme back and forth.
Oh, the fucking Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, and then the Spider-Man 20. I lost my shit in the theater when they showed that.
Yeah,
because that is a series that does not get enough respect.
It really doesn't.
Just like Batman Beyond. Like
it kind of lived in the 90s, and I don't think they've done much with it since.
DC, if anyone from DC ever listens to this, and you ever make it to the 18-minute and 27 mark of this podcast, please do something with Batman Beyond. Please. If you're going to do it on your streaming service, that's fine, but make it dark. I want it rated R. I want it rated X.
Do I need to tell you what Titans has become?
I want full frontal bat dong.
Okay. Do you want it live though? Like how they did
I think that a live action Batman Beyond with the right, not PG-13,
no,
rated R.
Yeah.
Titans is rated R, and it's a shit show.
I would love more. I think
your cord keeps hitting the mic.
Oh.
It's probably going to come through.
I don't give a fuck. So, yeah, I just don't think Batman Beyond gets enough respect.
No, it doesn't. It's a great series. It had a pretty good comic run, and then it didn't.
I've never read any of the comics.
The comics went in a weird direction.
We got.
And the thing about the show is, like, it sucks because whenever someone talks about the Batman Beyond cartoon, the reaction I get from everyone all the time is, oh, well, I know Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, everybody fucking knows Batman the Animated Series.
It's been around since 1990.
I love Batman the Animated Series.
Knows that shit.
It is great.
I can't believe that shit came out when I was 5.
It was groundbreaking, but I want to talk about fucking Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Or Static Shock.
Yeah.
Static Shock doesn't need to get enough love either.
or Street Sharks.
Okay, you know what? That got all the love it really.
These are all things we will talk about later in this podcast. But
Spider-Man,
yeah,
though.
I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with the next movie, because it definitely sets itself up for a sequel. So
there's so many awesome spider people they can.
Are we going to get Man Spider?
They could bring in Man Spider. They could bring in Spiders Man. Ooh. Down, woman. Down with the air conditioner.
There we go.
Okay, that's what the beeping is.
So there's a current comic going on called Spider-Geddon. I haven't read any of it. I'm waiting for the trade to come out because I don't like buying single issues. But I'm really excited.
Single issues?
There's a new character called Spiders Man, and it's just like a million sentient spiders in a suit that think they're Peter Parker collective. They just think they're Peter Parker.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if we'll get
great.
Spider Cop.
Like, kind of like 1 million ants in Rick and Morty. It's kind of that. It's really good.
I would really like it if we got Spider Cop from the game.
Spider Cop.
This city needs me.
They can bring in fucking Miguel, 2099 Spider-Man.
That seems like what they're doing.
So I'm super happy about that. They can bring in, Scarlet Spider.
Oh, they could do Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
We're gonna see Gwen come back because they mentioned that the I guess like the portals were stable or whatever.
Right.
So.
Well, they showed them trying to communicate again.
Yeah, like the very end. It's like, hey Miles, what's up?
Yeah.
But foreshadowing for the next movie, so I'd be down to see Spider-Gwen.
I think overall we have nothing but good things to say about this.
Yeah, Tara talked a lot about Spider-Gwen. She seemed to really enjoy
They could bring in
stuff.
Silk.
Oh, yeah.
Silk is the, I think she's a Korean spider person in the main Marvel continuity? Question mark? I think she also got bit by a spider that was radioactive and was in a bunker for some few years. I don't remember. I read a little bit of Silk, but I don't remember much about it.
I guess my question then becomes, like, is this only going to follow Miles', storyline, or are we going to see, like, spin-offs of, like, the Penny Parker movie, the Spider-Ham movie, these kinds of things?
I think
like
that if the
whatever.
next movie does as well as this one did, that we might see something outside of Miles. Like, we might see a movie that follows Gwen, because that seems like sort of a natural following progression. But I don't think it would really follow anyone else. Maybe Miguel, because that's a whole fucking that's a whole other thing.
I hope Miles comes back though.
I feel like
I think they will. He was way too good. Like, he was way too popular in this.
About time Miles gets something outside the comics.
And his dad didn't die.
Yeah, right.
Yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite things, was like seeing the different universes of Spider-Man, the different, spin-offs have their own tragedy that they had to talk about.
Someone at DC's like, they did New 52, right? Isn't that like their universes or whatever?
Yeah.
Or what is it, that Other Earth or something?
That was their reboot. Well, they have the multiverse.
Yeah, like,
so they have the various Earths numbered that I think what's his name came up with. I've already forgotten his name. Grant Morrison came up with the multiverse. So there's like, the Golden Age of comics, that was actually Earth this number. And this is the real DC continuity. So yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean, they all have multiple dimensions.
Zach just wants his Lobo movie.
Fuck yes, I want my Lobo movie. I want my Lobo anything. Give me anything Lobo except for the New 52 Lobo, because that was trash.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this shit. Like, my comic experience pretty much halted at Vertigo a few years ago, so...
They apparently are bringing Vertigo back.
Yeah,
After long last, they are apparently bringing it back.
I remember you mentioned that.
Which I'm happy for that.
Yeah. So...
Back to the Spider-Man
review. We get off topic. It's still kind of on topic.
That's what happens with ADD.
One of the things that I get as a perk is that I work in the theater, so I get to hear a lot of reactions, and whether it be positive or negative.
Damn millennial music! I just can't.
Earlier,
this motherfucker.
I briefly mentioned that there was this guy who came into the theater and wanted to see the Spider-Man movie. And let me preface this with, I'm pretty sure he was drunk. I'm pretty sure he had something going on.
Don't you?
No, that was not served to him from us, because I I'm pretty sure I smelt it. And I don't have a great sense of smell, like, when I have a cold, but pretty sure I smelled it. Anyway, so this guy comes in, and I guess he wanted to see Spider-Man, but didn't really know too much about how it was presented, because he comes out maybe 15 minutes later, which is like the beginning of the film, 5-10 minutes in, and says to me, I want a refund because that was like the worst film I've ever seen. I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm just sitting there like, did he go to see Mortal Engines? Like, what movie did I send him into?
Did that do bad?
Oh, it did not. Did not do good.
Mortal Engines lost a fuck ton of money.
I read the first book.
Quick side
and
note.
I just wanted to see it because I wanted to see the giant moving cities. That's really the
side
only reason.
note,
We're gonna let Mari finish.
It was like
her...
30-something% on like Rotten Tomatoes, and
we're gonna let Mari finish her story. I'm gonna look up how much money Mortal Engines lost.
All I know is like it made like $8 million at one point, and the worst.
That is a loss.
The worst part about it was that the other Peter Jackson film that only ran 2 days did more money.
I will put that in. So Peter Jackson did a World War I documentary called They Shall Not Grow Old, which I'm so excited is getting like a full theatrical release in January. But just to put this into perspective, Mortal Engines had a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign behind it. It's supposed to be like the next big young adult thing. Comes out full release, guns swinging. A World War I documentary made more money in 2 days at a limited run than Mortal Engines made in a whole day of showing across the country.
That is impressively bad.
About triple the number of screens too.
Mortal Engines lost $100 million at the box office.
I read the book, and the book was fine. I kind of wanted to see the movie just because I wanted to see the moving cities. I wanted to see those that like to scale.
And remember,
that's the only reason.
Like again, critic reviews aren't necessarily the best things to follow.
No, that's true.
But we can smell shit when it's on the ground.
Yeah. So maybe this is one you watch matinee. Maybe this is one you watch at home.
Maybe one you red box that shit with a free rental code.
See Spider-Man though.
But so this guy comes in and he's asking for a refund. I'm like, he can't be talking about this being a terrible movie. Maybe he's just joking. I was waiting for the punchline to this.
Are you sure you weren't watching The Last Airbender on your phone?
Yeah. Did you go to sleep and have a terrible dream? Because this is not the same.
Did you find the long lost theater room that only plays Spider-Man 3?
So
it is legend.
No. And then I was like, wait,
maybe
he's just
videos?
watching the trailers and he's just confused because he's drunk. No,
maybe he saw that fucking goddamn dog trailer that ruined the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer for Away Home?
No.
Oh my god. Okay. Fucking Christ. All right. There is this trailer.
Super off topic.
For a movie called not really. It's a trailer for the movie we saw.
It is leading into the film.
So there's a trailer for a movie called Away Home, and this movie is about. It is from the perspective of a dog, and you hear what the dog's thinking, and it's about this dog basically being adopted by this guy who becomes a doctor, and it's supposed to be a family feel-good movie, and the dog goes to work with the doctor, and like they grew up together and all this shit, and one day the fucking dog just decides to go chase a squirrel and runs the fuck away,
and not just a block down the street, not a mile.
No, runs to like Colorado.
They clearly live in like California or something.
And the trailer proceeds to tell you that that this dog gets lost, and the doctor's looking for the dog, and the dog's trying to find its way home. If you've ever seen Homeward Bound, this movie is Homeward Bound, missing one dog and a cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like Homeward Bound.
It also involves an animal actually losing itself, but
and finding a wild animal.
It teams up with a cougar, like a mountain lion or a cougar. It's getting ready to eat it, and then it comes up and purrs on it, and they become buddies and outrun an avalanche.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you the trailer.
Emotional roller coaster.
And you know how we know all this, by the way?
Here's my favorite
it's all
part.
In the trailer.
Here's my favorite part of this trailer. The trailer shows you the whole fucking movie. And I don't mean like how trailers will ruin parts of a movie. This trailer literally shows you from the beginning when the doctor's a little kid and gets this dog to the end with the dog running up the street into the arms of the doctor when they find him. So unless this movie has a third act, they're not showing where the dog gets cancer and they have to go get a fucking cure somewhere in Malaysia. That whole goddamn movie's in the trailer.
Beginning to end.
That just leads to my rant about how modern movie trailers suck 98% of the time.
So I was pretty sure that this was possibly the movie he was referencing, and so I was like, no. I was like, Spider-Man? And he's like, yeah, I hate millennial movies, or like that. And I'm like, millennial movies? Like,
these damn kids and their beep boop phones.
That Miles Morales was dabbing all over the screen.
So I'm going to the register to refund, and I'm like,
did you start flossing in front of me?
No,
did you do a Fortnite dance at him?
I'm going to the register to refund, and I'm like, did you? Are you saying millennials because of the art style? Because that's like comic book style. And he's like, no, I'm talking about the music. I'm more of a Rammstein kind of a guy.
Could you imagine Into the Spider-Verse with Rob's?
Yeah. No, that would definitely be a Beyond. Yeah, so.
Just angry German Spider-Man.
Batman Beyond, yeah. That would. So, but
we'll get like punk rock Spider-Man from the video game. That could be the Rammstein Spider-Man, but
basically he's just saying like it's just terrible. Like I don't know. millennial music just sucks. It's just crap. It's garbage. And I'm sitting there. I'm like,
I'm amazed he could see the screen with his head so far up his ass.
I'm like, you're 5 to 10 minutes in. Give it a chance. But I told him, I was like, look, the movie really doesn't suck. I think like the music, I get it on its own, just like I said earlier. But he was like, nah, I just can't. I can't. I can't. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to make this man watch this movie, but I'm also not going to allow him to sit in the lobby and say that it's the worst movie he's ever seen.
Sir, you are banned for life.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll give you your refund because I don't even want to hold your money anymore. Like, I don't even want you to
take
come
your
back.
Rammstein dollars and get out of here.
So, no, I mean...
I keep saying Rammstein because she did.
I
know it's
Rammstein. I just say Rammstein because that's...
Rammstein.
Yeah. It just feels weird. Anyway, so just the one guy...
Moral of the story is millennials
review.
Ruin everything.
One guy, terrible review, couldn't stand it. I've had
just wait for the Fortnite
the
movie.
first day or two, lots of people come up and say that the screen was blurry, and I'm like, no, this is comic book style. Sorry, I know pixelated seems a little weird. It's not the blurriness of the image.
There were parts of it, at least in my theater, that it kind of looked like it was supposed to be meant for 3D glasses.
Yes, it had that feel, but
like
you know
every
what
once in a while you'll see
you'll
see the doubling images on some, and
so
it's like really obvious.
There was like TV screens that looked really off compared to the rest of the art, and then I was like, okay, this maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is
some kind of weird digital projection
a problem, because there is focusing and calibrations you can do in the projector, but this is definitely not because of that. It's the way it was intended. Whether or not there is a
you guys
focusing.
are overlooking it. It's just because of millennials.
Yeah. So their eyes.
All that dabbing is shifting the balance of the earth.
Their vision doesn't work the same with all the dabbing. So.
All they see is the ninja
kind of the top part of their arm.
Live stream.
Yeah.
Tweeting.
So yeah, no.
Talking about fucking tweeting,
man,
that's what I do.
And like,
I think complaint wise, those are the main things I've heard, and like
millennials.
Maybe that it's a little bit long for like kids, but like it's not without its, purpose.
Can we talk about the art style though?
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Sony patented the computer programming code to make that. So I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to do anything else with it.
Part of it kind of runs at almost a slower frame rate, like intentionally.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
It has
the movements are almost
animated style.
Jerky.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird at first, but you get used to it, and it just works for it.
It reminded me of Ralph, the first one, Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, okay.
Not the Ralph Breaks the Internet, but the Wreck-It Ralph, where they were doing the intentional pixelated video game style of the characters and kind of had like the shifty movements.
And like and then Spider-Man Noir, he looked like a completely different three-dimensional, and he's all black. Dude,
different movement.
Do you know Spider-Man is full Spider-Ham is completely 2D animated?
Yep.
In that movie? They had to go back and learn how to do that because we don't do animation like that anymore. Yeah. They had to do that on that's just crazy to me.
Clear intention behind
that they took the time and
yeah.
fully 2D animated him completely. I don't know if they did that with Penny Parker as well.
I don't think so.
She looked parts of it looked like she was maybe not.
It looked like somebody drew her in Krita, like the art program.
Yeah,
and
it was kind of weird.
It.
But yeah, the other characters had almost their own art style. At least those three did.
Right, and the movement too, like you said. Like there's a difference in how those other dimension spider people moved than the
Spider people.
Moved than how Miles moved.
Yeah,
you know,
because they're from different universes,
and they would in the glitches and such would definitely be noticeable. But yeah, I mean, I think overall I really enjoyed the film, and especially for not knowing any of the comic book background to it, like I could still appreciate. Yeah,
if you can follow this movie, you can follow a comic book.
Right, like, and so
if you can dodge a wrench,
the only
throwing it out
Spider-Man I knew is anything that's been on a movie.
Yeah,
you know?
it tells you everything you need to know.
One thing I'm really curious about is that with this movie we saw other Spider-Men coming in to this universe with like alternate storylines, and we've also seen that in Miles' universe that like Doc Ock has a completely different storyline from what we're used to, so cool. Which makes me wonder if the universes are stable, are we going to start seeing villains from the other universes with alternate stories?
I hope so.
Crossing over.
That Scorpion was awesome.
Yeah, I really liked the villain interpretation in this movie. It was like that's something I think I'm appreciating.
Tombstone was a little boring. Tombstone just kind of was there.
But, like, I think that's something, like, even looking at, like, Spider-Man Homecoming that I'm really appreciating about these modern movies is, like, the I guess, like, twisting of, like, classic villain storylines, like Michael Keaton in Homecoming. Mm-hmm. I loved his take on Vulture. Yeah. I thought that was so fucking cool.
He actually scavenged things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And blew a dude up. Mm-hmm. But, anyway, we've said this enough.
Yeah,
great movie.
Please go see it.
Please see it. Excellent.
I'm probably going to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out. I never buy movies anymore.
I will definitely pick this one up. So, we are 37 minutes into this podcast.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Is there anything else we would like to discuss on this first episode while we're here?
No.
You want to talk about Aquaman?
Maybe probably for another one, because that's a whole other thing. I mean, I did like it, but
to be fair, we haven't.
Yeah,
seen
you guys haven't even seen it, so
but...
I can make stuff up as I go along.
Yeah,
there was water. He was wet. Aquaman. Talk to the fish.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You think that was intentional? You know, put Jason Momoa in a movie where there was a lot of water and just being wet and things of that nature. Just
I mean,
I think someone at DC looked at Game of Thrones and went, he's pretty popular.
We can make some ladies wetter than Aquaman.
Mm-hmm. He can control.
The tide's coming in.
Yeah,
he's a sexy man.
Control that tide.
But I guess we'll talk about Aquaman on another one. So we'll go ahead and cut this one here. If you guys like this, keep an ear out. I don't know when any more of these are going to come out. This is sort of
eventually.
This is the pilot program for this. We'll see how it works. But if they do, then we will be talking about. Obviously, movies, video games, TV, and honestly, whatever the hell comes up. I'd like to keep this structured, but to be honest, anything we ever record close to a podcast just goes off the rails real quick. So, we'll end it here. Go ahead, Mari. Do your thing.
Do you have a thing?
Hello, goodbye.
Motherfucker, you already said that.
Aloha. There you go. You covered all your bases.
Zach, do your thing.
Hello, goodbye, aloha.
I'm just going to go ahead and say goodbye.